Hey, and welcome to the Clean Comfort Humidity Control presentation. My name is Jonathan Cramer, and I'm the product manager for Indoor Air Essentials, the Clean Comfort brand. With me today, we have a jam-packed lineup that's going to be talking about not only evaporative humidifiers, we have steam humidification and dehumidification, and we have Jake, Jeff, and David that are going to chime in when it's their sections. So just kind of like a Clean Comfort overview of what we have. I'm going to use this time to kind of promote everything that we have. We have a complete lineup of 6 different families, but in 2020 alone, we have released 3 new product lines inside those families. We have a brand new evaporative humidifiers, which we're going to talk about, brand new ventilating dehumidifiers, and also a complete zoning lineup. So why would you sell Clean Comfort over everyone else? Well, the easy answer is that we leverage our buying power and our quality partnerships to give you guys the best price and the best product. Even right now, during this presentation, we have a great partnership with all of our vendors that we're able to do trainings like this to give you guys the most knowledge and experience that you guys can have when you're going out there for sales calls. We also have over 8 different companies with 40 plus products, all based in North America. The field's always evolving. I think that's pretty obvious on the last slide where we showed that we have 3 new product launches all in 2020, and 2021 is going to be even more exciting. We're not really hitting the brakes. We're hitting the ground running when it comes to an IAQ. If there's any product that catches your eye, especially with this deep dive into humidity control, please check out our website at www.cleancomfort.com, where we have consumer brochures, spec sheets, and anything that you can imagine when it comes to selling to the homeowner. We do not sell directly through this website. What we do use it for is a knowledge-based center that can easily allow you to find bullet points and targeting points to present to the homeowners. So in today's presentation, we're going to be defining causes of poor air quality, educate you guys on how to handle humidity, and also ways to sell our complete line and promote the Clean Comfort brand as well. So when we look at the EPA, they talk about 3 main indoor air pollutant strategies. One is source control, ventilation, and filtration. I encourage you to check out the Clean Comfort overview presentation where we dive into each one of those. But today we're going to be talking about how do we control the humidity in the air, because you never want to fully eliminate anything, and that goes the same with humidity. The basics of humidity, think of it as absolute humidity and relative humidity. Absolute humidity is just the moisture or water vapors that are regardless of the temperature that are in the air. Relative humidity is the amount of water vapors that's present at a specific temperature. So if you think about it as the north and the south, think of it as Houston, Texas. We have a crazy amount of humidity because it's warm and it's hot here, and warm air is a little bit more susceptible to absolute humidity versus the others. And if you go in and you look at the grass, think of grass, when you go out there, the mildew, it absorbs the water, but that's not the only thing that can absorb water. We have animals, people, flooring, carpet, artwork, and everything else can also be absorptions of water. So think about it as a 40 to 60%. If we have humidity for our health and for our comfort, the EPA and ASHRAE have released guidelines that they want you to be between 40 to 60% relative humidity. So what that is doing is not only is it the optimal zone, but if you look at the chart, it's also minimizing the growth of funguses, viruses, mites, bacteria. And we keep that at a 40%, 60%, and all the Clean Comfort product lines able to maintain that for you as a whole home solution. When you look at it being too little, what that means is that if you have a lower humidity in the air, let's say between like this zone says 0 to 40, what you're going to need is we need to add moisture into the air. So the ways you could do that is through evaporative humidifiers and also steam humidification. With too much humidity in the air, we need to remove some moisture in the air. Now, again, it's all about controlling. We never want to completely eliminate anything. So we're not trying to get the humidity in the air back down to 0, because then we would need to add humidity. What we're trying to do is keep it into that 40 to 60% range where we know it's the optimal zone. So with removing the moisture from the air, that's what we call dehumidification. And those are the products that we're going to be talking about for you as well. So another way to look at humidification, and we talked about dehumidification being in the south, where especially in Houston, where we're in high humidity. It's also in the winter time when you have humidification season isn't perfectly in line. So if you think about it as 72 degrees Fahrenheit and your outside relative humidity is going to be low. Same goes for inside the house. So when it's winter season, humidifiers, evaporative, and steam, that is the season much like it is heating season for HVAC systems. But it's not just about keeping you comfort and keeping you comfortable inside your home, but it's also about the health benefits. So with humidity, especially for your health, you can get, eyes irritation, skin, nose, headaches, maybe your allergies even progress a little more. But that's not the only thing as well. It's only thing as well is we have preservations for your home, especially right now. We have our DIY and all kinds of stuff happening because we're all home. We're doing some home improvements. Well, during those home improvements, you want to start protecting your assets inside your house. You're spending a lot of money and upgrading maybe to install hardwood floors across the house. All those things cost money and you want to be able to protect it. Obviously, not all of us have a wine cellar or a cigar center like this one shows here, but you want to protect those things. Maybe you have a piano and you want to maintain the humidity level in the air for that as well. This is the kind of stuff that humidifiers help preserve for your home. When we look at the market space, I think we can all agree portables are well known, and maybe when you guys are going into homes to make sales calls, you can see portable units. Well, this is like the number one thing we can sell against because portables aren't easily maintaining the whole house. All of our stuff is for whole home solutions. And as you can look here, we have the whole house where we're kind of breaking down the residential areas for not only portables, but also for the whole house. So if we pull that 5% out, we're looking at the steam and evaporative humidifiers and their market shares. So as you see, there is a lot out there. When it comes to the portables, they're the pros and cons. Obviously, some pros, maybe if you like that, it's going to add a little more essential oils. I mean, that's just more VOCs in the air. It's not really that big of a pro in my opinion, but maybe for some people, they like to do that. But really the con is you're never really going to get that full feeling that you have added a lot of moisture in the air. That portable can only produce as much as water that's inside the tank. I see a lot of things on Amazon where it shows that it can run all night, or this portable humidifier can satisfy you all night, 8 hours a day. Well, there's no way, right? Because that tank would have to be huge for it to be satisfying your room for 8 hours out of the day. And then when it's out of water, what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to add more water into it. This is constantly adding time and taking away from things you could be doing elsewhere. Whereas our whole home solution treats the entire homes for both humidification and dehumidification. And it requires you to have the maintenance of once a season, maybe to go in there to check to see how it is, but it's not requiring you to do this regularly. Same goes with dehumidifiers. They're removing moisture in the air. Well, where is that moisture going? Well, it's going into the tank that's associated with that portable unit. So when that tank is full, the dehumidifier shuts off. You have to go and take the tank, dump it down the drain, put it back, and then it could continue again. That's not really a solution. You're just basically putting a Band-Aid on a problem. The way you're going to be able to really satisfy that whole home is using our whole home humidifiers and our whole home dehumidifiers, because you're adding moisture to the air automatically when the thermostats are calling for it or the humidistats are calling for it. And same going with dehumidifiers, we're removing moisture in the air as long as those levels are above that 40 to 60%. So both of our things are going to be able to help you reach that 40 to 60 optimal zone. And let's dive into more of our products. I want to pass it off over to
Am I live and good to go, Jonathan? Okay, I saw your head shake, so I believe I'm good to go, but I don't seem to have control at this point. So
I'll go ahead and do it for you, Jeff. Just let me know.
Beautiful. So first off, Jonathan, thank you for inviting me to do this. I'm excited about the relationship that we're joined together in on the humidification, dehumidification side. I'm Jeff Holben. I work for Residio. We make Honeywell home products. And let's dive into bypass humidification. So principle of operation, as you can see, a humidistat or control device signals for humidity. The solenoid valve opens, which allows water to be distributed over the evaporative pad. When that's happening, heated air from the furnace is delivered to the humidifier. That heated air crosses over the evaporative pad, and of course, helps to evaporate that water. Now, with fan-powered humidifiers, we're able to increase the output because we're more of a direct connect, if you will. With a bypass humidifier, we have a 6-inch pipe typically. The humidifier is mounted normally on the return side, can be on the supply, but that 6-inch pipe brings the air from the furnace through that evaporative pad. With a fan-powered humidifier, there is no piping, so the air goes right in from the supply plenum typically into the humidifier, across the evaporative pad, and back into the airstream. The humidified air goes back into the airstream. So that helps us to increase the output of a fan-powered unit. That heated air, of course, is vaporized and goes through the entire home. As Jonathan said, with portable units, they can only do so much, and they may take care of a room. Maybe you put a portable unit in one room, but obviously with a whole home unit, you're able to get water into the whole house. So Jonathan, next slide, please. All right, so let's get into the types of humidifiers, evaporative humidifiers, and what you have to offer your customers. So we have 3 different types here, as you can see. An economic, basic model, we call it, 17 and 12 gallon. These are evaporative style, HE17M and an HE12M. So right in the model number, you see the 12 and the 17 gallons. So very easy to know based on the model number what size humidifier that you're dealing with. If you look at those two, you see the little red handle, if you will, for your damper open and close. These are very simple humidifiers. Some competitors out there look similar to this, with a door that opens to be able to access the pad and the water line. So, these are more of the, we'll call it the price fighter models, if you will, and excellent units. They do a great job. They have a manual humidistat, a basic humidistat control included with the unit itself. Now let's move into the center section, the premium auto models. So the premium auto models are built differently. They service differently, they install differently, and it's a great offering for your customers. So for example, if you look at the black center piece of those 2 humidifiers, again, a 17 and a 12 gallon. Again, you can see that in the model number, an HE17A and an HE12A too. So the black piece in the center, that's how you change it from left to right. All you have to do is pop that center piece off, flip it to make it left or right justify. Whereas with the economy models and most of the competitive models out there, you have to kind of get into the unit, take the pad out, flip it around, change the drain. It's more time consuming. So this premium auto model definitely gives you the ability to do a quicker change from left to right. You never have to touch the evaporative pad to install the unit. So you can install this and shoot the screws from the outside of the unit. The screw holes are on the outside, not the inside. So it makes for a much easier install. You don't have to open everything up, gut it out to do the installation. One of the other nice features about these premium auto models is the way the service works. So the pad can come out in 3 different ways. You see the logo at the top part, and that door opens above the black centerpiece, and you can actually reach in and pull the pad out from the top, like most humidifiers. but the water line is actually fixed in the top so that you don't have to touch the water line during a pad change. Now, to me, that's the hard way to change the pad on these premium auto model units. So you can just barely see on the right-hand side of these two units a black strip. And that black strip is actually a handle. And so you can grab that handle and actually pull the pad out on the right-hand side of the unit. Awesome. You don't touch the water line. It's really quick and easy to get to the pad and change it. And by the way, we've made this, kind of like a transformer, so to speak. I've had a lot of contractors tell me that during trainings. But if you switch the centerpiece to a right-hand justify, you can actually switch the pad removal to the left side. You can do all of this with no tools, just your bare hands. So it really makes it nice and easy from an install and a service standpoint. A couple other quick things to note. We do put a foam seal where the opening is for the plenum. So hopefully you don't have to caulk it to the plenum anymore. That's a nice feature, helps save time. And then the premium auto model units have a digital humidistat, an automatic humidistat, if you will. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second. So moving on to the premium fan model, this is by far, yep, thank you, Jonathan. This is by far, in my opinion, the best fan-powered unit in the market. So this is an awesome product for you to go out and sell. Some of the things that I've heard over the 14 years of my Honeywell/Resideo career is that fan-powered model units are noisy and can be kind of a pain to install. And of course, evaporative humidifiers and fan-powered humidifiers use, a lot of water. I mean, a normal evaporative humidifier can use about 4 gallons of water to get one into the air, and the fan-powered units are about the same. With this premium fan-modeled fan-powered unit, boy, that's a lot to say, we actually have a water-saving solenoid built into the system. So the solenoid actually opens on a call for humidity, saturates the pad, and then the solenoid will close. Now, this is a timing situation. We've studied the timing so that we know how long it takes to saturate the pad and how long we can leave that solenoid closed without risking the 18 gallon that we are able to provide per day of water. So that solenoid will open and close during a call for humidification. Note to the installer and the service technician, make sure that if you're not getting water, but there's a call for humidity, just give it time, wait, and it should open back up to provide more water. Now, the benefit to the homeowner in this case is it actually only takes 2 gallons of water with this premium fan model to get one into the air. So we're saving about 40 to 50% in water with this unit over most competitors' fan-powered models. Excellent. Again, install features and service features are upgraded as well. So screw holes on the outside, not the inside, so you don't have to gut the unit to hang it. And on the right-hand side, this picture is tilted to the right a little bit, but on the right-hand side, you see the black stripe, if you will. Again, that's a handle. We turned the pad so that the pad comes straight out from the plenum so that you can grab that black stripe, pull the pad out really quick and easy, and then slide it back in for replacement. So we've talked about the water saving feature. I've talked about the service and install feature, but there's one last thing. I talked about fan-powered units being noisy. This unit has a variable speed squirrel cage in it, not a fan, and it actually quiets the unit down to about 44 to 48 decibels. In some cases, that's quieter than variable speed equipment. So a very quiet unit that provides excellent humidification, easy to install and easy to service, and don't forget that water saving. 40 to 50% water saving possibility. So great features to be able to sell to your homeowners out there in the marketplace. Jonathan, go ahead. Awesome. So the economy model, again, we talked about 12 and 17 gallon available, a manual only humidistat. So it's the old dial style bimetal humidistat that comes with it. It is a universal pad size. That's one of the other great benefits to these humidifiers is there are a lot of different humidifiers that use the same or similar, very similar pad. And so if you go out and talk to a customer out there and they've been buying a certain pad size, there's a good chance that it's going to fit in these models as well. Upgradable pad to an Aegeon coated pad. So the economy models don't have what we call an Aegeon coated pad. Aegeon coating, that is a nickel-based coating that we put on the premium models, the auto and the fan-powered. And the Aegeon coating helps to prevent mold and algae growth on the pad. So it's a great feature in those premium units, but you can also, because the pad sizes are all compatible, you can also upgrade a customer to an Aegeon coated pad with the economy model. If that fits their budget better and it does the job for them, that's awesome. Sell that model to them, but offer the upgradable Aegeon pad down the road possibly. Compact size, all these humidifiers should be very easy to install and relatively compact in size. Now, the premium model, a couple of things I want to point out, digital humidistat. So the digital humidistat in this case is either manual or automatic, as I call it. I'll explain that here in a couple of other slides. Very versatile design. I talked about that in regards to the installation and the service features. And then operational, very efficient in regards to the operation of the unit. And I already discussed the maintenance and how easy it is. So definitely a premium product in the bypass humidification market. The fan model, again, it provides up to 18 gallon. It also has that digital humidistat that we're going to talk a little bit more about. Of course, both the premium evaporative and the fan model come with an outdoor sensor with that digital humidistat. Again, we talked about the versatility. The water savings is huge, and the maintenance, of course, and the quieter operation. Jonathan? Oh, need to mention the 5-year part warranty. All of these products have a 5-year part warranty from date of installation. Almost missed that. Go ahead, Jonathan. So here's the digital control that comes with the premium evaporative bypass and fan powered. It's very simple to operate. You can see it's a large screen display, very easy to read. Your inside humidity reading is the current reading from a sensor in this unit. And then, of course, your control button on the bottom and left controls the lighting. You can have the backlight be on all the time or only come on when a button is pushed, either way. And then the button on the right-hand bottom, that is, of course, your on-off to turn the humidification on or off. And you can see your set point adjustment are your 2 buttons on the right-hand side. Now, in this case, you see a setting of 8. So that shows me that this is set up for what I call automatic or frost protection. So we do provide an outdoor sensor with these models and these digital controls. And if you connect the outdoor sensor to the sub base of this humidistat, it configures itself for automatic or frost control humidification. If you don't connect the outdoor sensor, then it stays configured for a manual, what I call manual humidistat. In other words, set it at 35 or 40% and just let it go. So Jonathan, if you can hit the next slide for me. Thank you. So the auto mode, just to kind of confirm how that works. Again, if you connect the outdoor sensor that comes with it to the sub base of the humidistat, it configures itself for auto mode. And what that means is this. It's monitoring outdoor temperature so that we make sure that we try and maximize humidity, but not cause condensation on the window. Now, as everyone knows, I'm sure with other automatic humidifiers and outdoor sensors, You know, if there's a drastic swing in temperature, you know, here in Ohio where I live, we can be 50 degrees one day and 20 degrees the next, believe it or not. And so it's hard for the humidifier to adjust that quickly. But when temperatures are more normal and relative, if you will, maybe 40s and 30s and 20s, then that outdoor sensor is going to help to compensate and make sure that we adjust the humidity so that we don't have condensation on the window or very little. And again, the settings there are 1 through 10. And so, you know, my recommendation is to set it at a 5, leave it alone for 3 or 4 days and see if you get enough humidity, but no condensation on the window. When you make adjustments, adjust maybe 1 or 2. So if you set it at 5 and you're not getting enough humidity, maybe bump it to 6, 7 at the most. Again, give it a couple, 3 days to try and figure things out and see if you're satisfied with your humidification at that point without condensation. Jonathan, next slide. Yeah, I think that's it for me. So thank you again.
All right, I will try and request control. Oh, looks like it's working. All right. Hey everyone, my name is Jake Delozio and I'm the product manager for our residential products at Condair. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about the HS series steam humidifier. So similar to what Jeff was just going through with the whole home bypass and fan powered humidifier, this steam humidifier is a whole home solution. So it's not like a portable solution, you know, the standard ones that you can find at Walmart or Home Depot right off the shelf. You know, this is designed to humidify the entire home. It's the main purpose of this product is to maintain the 40 to 60% relative humidity range across the entire home. And this steam humidifier does a very, very good job of that. So just a quick overview of the product, which you can see here on this slide. So this does, you know, similar to a bypass or a fan-powered humidifier, it does integrate with a central furnace or warm air ducts. Doesn't necessarily need to be a furnace. And it supplies pure, clean atmospheric steam directly into the supply air duct, which then gets distributed throughout the entire home. So just some of the key kind of pros or reasons why you'd want to go with a steam humidifier. So the first one I have here is that it has 100% positive output that does not depend on airflow. So one thing, maybe a bit of a drawback with a bypass or a fan-powered humidifier is that in order to get kind of full capacity, you do need warmer air. Typically, it does need to be in a heat cycle in order to get your full capacity off of it. Since a steam humidifier is providing already boiled water, it's pure water vapor, it evaporates really efficiently and quickly into the airstream. And so you can actually link it up with the furnace or the fan. And so anytime there is a call for humidity, it can actually activate the fan and start producing steam and putting that steam into the house right away. So it doesn't wait for any kind of a heat cycle or anything like that. It'll proactively just start putting steam into the home. The next big thing is the hygiene aspect. So since it is boiling water, the only thing that's going into the supply air duct and into the home, which is where you're breathing, well, the air that you're breathing in, is pure, clean water vapor. That's all it is. Any impurities get left behind, like any minerals in the water. There's no bacteria since you're boiling water. No bacteria can survive. So yeah, it is the most hygienic solution. You're breathing in just pure water vapor. Another kind of benefit with going with a steam humidifier is the water consumption. So yeah, with a bypass humidifier, typically they do use a little bit more water. And so particularly with the HS series steam humidifier, we have what we call auto-adaptive control algorithm, which I'll talk about shortly. But essentially what it does is it constantly monitors the conditions within the cylinder, and it optimizes the water that's going through the drain. So it really helps with A, the cylinder life, and B, the amount of water that it's actually consuming. Another great reason for the HS series steam humidifier is the installation flexibility. So, there are certain scenarios where the furnace area can be quite, tight. There's not a lot of room on the supply plenum or on the return plenum. So with this, we do have the flexibility of mounting it on a side wall, wherever there is space, and actually piping that over to the supply air duct. So it just adds a little bit of flexibility to the installation. And then, like I said, the main goal of this solution is to maintain 40 to 60% across all areas of the home. And, it does a very, very good job of that, again, because it'll always put steam to the air, even if it's not in the heat cycle. In addition to that, you also do get a bit of a heat gain off of it, just because you are putting steam into the air. So the room can feel a little bit warmer. You can actually potentially dial back your thermostat set point a tiny bit, because you do get a slight heat gain off of it. Some of the inherent drawbacks would be the cost of operation. Just because you are boiling water over time, that can be a little bit higher. But again, it kind of depends where you live. If you live in an area where the cost of water is quite significant compared to the cost of electricity, that could be a wash going to a steam humidifier, because it does save on the amount of water that's being consumed. So again, that's just purely dependent on where you're located. And then, of course, it's going to be a bit, more of a higher cost up front, and a little bit more setup time than, say, a portable humidifier. And again, you get all the benefits of, an automatic humidifier with that, though. You don't have to worry about cleaning it. You don't have to worry about, constantly refilling the humidifier. You just do the initial setup, and you really don't have to think about it much after that. So just looking at a few more features and benefits. So again, Jonathan kind of talked about this earlier, but just maintaining 40 to 60% is very important for your comfort, for your health, and for your valuable furnishings in your home. So again, that's kind of the main goal of this. It's to maintain 40 to 60% across the entire home. And yeah, those are some very key reasons why you'd want to do that. Like I talked about earlier, the HS series does have the auto adaptive control algorithm, and it essentially is always monitoring the conditions within the cylinder, because obviously, one application may have a little bit more harder water than another application. So it's always optimizing its drain cycles to suit its specific application. So it really just optimizes the amount of water use and maximizes the cylinder life of the unit. The unit is completely bundled. It's shipped with pretty much everything you would need for an installation. So you've got the humidifier, you've got the humidistat, which is what controls the output or demand from the humidifier, kind of similar to your thermostat. It has the hoses that are required, like the steam hose, any condensate hose. It's got the nozzle distributor, which actually sits in the duct, and that's what puts the steam into the duct. And then all hardware and documentation. Like I said before, it is quite a simple installation. You essentially mount the humidifier, you set up your controls and your power, and then your water supply to the unit and the drain. And once you're done that initial installation, it is a fully automatic operation. You don't have to worry about refilling the tank, or doing manual cleans or anything like that. Things that you would see very common with a portable humidifier. I know with portable humidifiers, I've actually seen the EPA suggest cleaning them every 3 days. So that just goes to show you, how quickly it can get, built up with bacteria. Clearly, no one is cleaning those every 3 days, and even if you clean it once a week or every 2 weeks, it's quite annoying over time. So, having this automatic operation is a really great benefit to the homeowner. So this humidifier, as you can see on the right, it uses a disposable cylinder to boil the water. So that's where all the boiling action takes place within the humidifier. That's where all the wear and tear happens. So over time, as it boils away the water, some of the scale or the minerals get left behind in the cylinder. And eventually, typically after maybe 1 year of operation to up to 2 years of operation, you'll actually have to replace the cylinder. So it is a consumable part, but once you replace it, you're essentially getting a brand new humidifier because, again, that's where all the wear and tear happens within the unit. So yeah, it is a very quick thing to change out. It only takes about 15 minutes or so. And then again, you have a brand new humidifier. So just looking at the available models for the HS series, we have the HS 1122 and the HS 2529. So the 1122 and the 2529 refers to the maximum output. So you can see in the steam output column, the maximum output for the 1122 is up to 22 gallons per hour when you have that tied into 240 volt supply power. And then it would be 11 gallons per day if you have it tied into 120 volt. Similarly, with the HS 2529 at 208 volts, it would supply 25 gallons per day, and at 240 volt, it goes up to 29 gallons per day. So this will cover quite a large area. So AHRI does publish a sizing guideline, which is a great reference tool for determining which model would be best for your particular home. But yeah, the HS 1122, up to 22 gallons per day, that'll serve the vast majority of homes. If it's a very big home, then you can jump up to the HS 2529. One great feature with the 1122 is that it does just require a 15 amp breaker. So just something to note there versus the 2529, which is a 20 amp breaker. And one other point that I just wanted to mention about these two models is that, it's just the one particular or two particular model SKUs, and you can tie in that, one of those three voltages to that unit. So it's not like you have to order a separate product if you want 208 volt versus 240 volt. It's all one humidifier. All you have to do is just change a quick setting at the installation, and you can use either voltage. One other quick point that I just wanted to go through is that water does play an important role with steam humidification. This type of technology uses the conductivity in the water to actually pass the current across the cylinder and generate steam. So for example, you would not be able to use reverse osmosis system with a steam humidifier just because it's too pure of water. It needs those minerals in the water in order to operate correctly. On the other side, if you're using very hard or very conductive well water, it could be a little bit too far the other way. So the ideal range for the HS series is between 150 and 1,000 micromoles per centimeter. And that covers the vast majority of applications. Typically, if you get up above 1,000 micromoles, the house will already be operating with a softener just to protect some of the other plumbing fixtures. So that'll help with the steam humidifier as well. And yeah, I will pass that over to David.
Good afternoon. My name is David Kennedy. I am the National Sales Manager from my company to Clean Comfort, Goodman, and Daikin. There we go. We are producing these ventilating dehumidifiers for Clean Comfort. They're not exactly the same as what we've been selling. We've actually gone in and upgraded them. We have three different models. We have the DV065, the DV090, and the DV120. The numbers indicate how many pints a day of water will be, on average, removed from the homes by each unit. Okay, whole home solutions, the place of higher efficiency air conditioning system. So some of the two-stage systems that are out today work great for dehumidifying homes, but there is a larger inherent cost in installing multi-stage systems. So the way to handle that is to install a dehumidifier, in with the system. Okay. The DV065 is a standalone unit. It can also be ducted in, but usually it's standalone. We see them in the Northeast in basements, hung from the ceiling. They attach ductwork to it. Again, it's got a standalone dehumidistat too, to remove the humidity in a basement or in an attic, a small attic that's sealed up with insulation to keep that humidity down on that. The larger ones, the 120 and the 90, will do ventilation. They have 6-inch intakes, so they'll bring in fresh air. All of these can be standalone or centrally ducted, compact size. So the 90 and the 120 are actually the same footprint. The 65 is much smaller. Our coating on our coils, we e-coat our coils, so it's great, you know, on the coast, especially here in Florida where I live. And we're providing these with a 6-year warranty. And when I say 6-year warranty, it is a field scrap warranty. So the only serviceable parts on this unit would be the filter and the fuse block on the back of the unit, which we'll cover going forward. So product anatomy, this is a very busy slide, but we're trying to convey a whole bunch of information in one slide. So we'll start on the 65 point, 66 point a day. So we have an 8-inch collar, okay, and that's on both sides. We have a metal knob humidistat, onboard humidistat. Why do we have that? So it is standalone much of the time. That way you don't need to attach a separate humidistat to it. 3/4 inch drain port right on the front. You can downsize this to, we have an adapter that comes with it to bring it down to 3/8 tubing, okay? We have a MERV 11 filter. On the side here, you see the magnetic filter door. Why did we do that? Well, I was a technician for 20+ years, a contractor. How many times do you get into an attic or a crawl space and you're messing with little tiny screws and you lose a little screw, you strip the screw, and then you end up with a hole in the side of the unit that's leaking air, whether it's coming in or going out. So we eliminated that by replacing the door with a heavy gauge magnetic strip. And we have it on both left and right side of the unit on all of our models. So it doesn't matter where you install it, you have access. Moving up, we have the 90 and the 120 point. Now, again, these are the same footprint. Again, we're using the MERV 11 filter. You could use a higher grade filter if you wanted to, but MERV 11 is great for this. You're not moving a lot of CFMs. Again, we have the magnetic filter door. We have a 6-inch collar. The 6-inch collar is for fresh air ventilation. So these dehumidifiers can be run in dehumidification mode, and they can also be run in ventilation mode. I live in South Florida. If you ventilate any other way than through a dehumidifier, you may meet code, but it doesn't mean you're not going to turn the walls black. So I have a 120 at my house, and I ventilate my house through my dehumidifier. On the supply and returns, we're running a 10-inch duct collar, okay? So this will pipe in directly to the ductwork in the house. We're finding that's the most common size going into it. We'll get more into installation in a moment. The outside of all of our units is 20 gauge powder coated cabinet. So you don't have to worry about the unit rusting up in the attic. The metal's totally sealed all the way around, inside and out. So there is no rusting in a wet space like under a house. I wouldn't recommend putting it in standing water. And on the bottom of all of these units are screwable isolation feet. So they screw in, they screw out. You can lock them in place. Even if you're not on a level platform, you can level out the dehumidifier using these feet. On the back side of the unit, on the 120 and the 90, we even have it on the 65, is a terminal block. So on the 65, if you want to go to an external dehumidistat like the HumidiPro, HumidiPro works for humidity and dehumidification. We have terminals for float switches. Why do you want that? Well, if it's in your attic and the pan ever backs up, you don't want it tearing down your ceiling. So it's great to, you know, have the float switch in there. We run this dehumidification, so the fan comes on, the compressor comes on. Rotary compressors, some of the lowest electrical consumption in the industry. If you just want to ventilate, you can just ventilate. When there's no call for dehumidification, it'll ventilate into the space. Fan on, fan off, fan only for ventilation. So again, you can call for ventilation so you can meet your ASHRAE 62.2 ventilation standards with this. Moving forward, added performance. So again, we E-coated our coils. We used to not E-coat the coils. And again, I live in Florida, so you have coasts on both sides and you have swamp in the middle. Here's a picture of a coil at 9 months. How does this happen? Well, we have salt in the air down here, industrial developments, any type of industry. In the middle of the state, we have the swamps. So the gas from the swamps will eat up the coils too. So we started E-coating our coils, and I'm seeing them down here at 5 years with no corrosion on them, as long as the unit's being properly maintained and you're running a filter in it. So here's the standard, basically our same coil without the coating, and here's with the E-coating. Flexibility of installation. So again, with the smaller units, you can do standalone in a crawl space. In the sealed attics where they're putting in the spray insulation now, a lot of times they have humidity buildup. This is a great place to put the smaller units. Put it up there, attach it to a float switch, dial up the humidity to where you want, and pretty much forget it. Flexibility with the size and control options, okay? So the one here at my house is centrally located. So mine is the closet ducted. So mine draws the air for the dehumidifier from my living room, pulls it through the dehumidifier, dehumidifies it, and then puts it right back into the return. So my thermostat, I don't have a dehumidistat. I have a thermostat that does humidity control. It calls for dehumidification. It pulls on the dehumidifier, and it brings my air conditioning system on in low speed. So it's circulating this now dry, dehumidified, slightly warmer, say 15 to 20, 25 degrees at most warmer air, so it's not heating your house, through the house. So my whole house, even when it's 85 and 90% humidity outside, if I'm not running my air conditioning, I'm still able to maintain 45% humidity throughout my house. Why is this key? Well, like with humidity, if a house has more humidity, it feels warmer in the winter. In the southern climates, if lower humidity makes it feel cooler. So 78 degrees with 45% humidity feels about 75 degrees. So you're saving a lot of electricity. Why do I see this as an advantage over the more high efficiency systems? Well, these compressors, the 120 only pulls 7.3 full load amps, and the 65 pulls 5.2 amps. So that's a lot less amperage than your compressor would be pulling on your air conditioner, okay, on the condensing unit. Also, it's not using up the life expectancy of your condensing unit. You're not just bringing your system on to dehumidify, your system is only coming on to cool. And since we're already controlling the humidity, when your system comes on, it's only coming on to lower the temperature 1 or 2 degrees. It's not coming on to chug away to lower the humidity in the house. Again, we have the different ways to install. These guides are included inside with each dehumidifier. It's also on the website. And all of our contractor development specialists around the country, all of the Goodman staff would be more than happy to help you pick the best type of installation. So a dedicated return to main supply. So you're sucking from the space, you're putting in the supply. This works good, but you need a backdraft damper on it so that if the system does come on, you're not blowing air back through the dehumidifier. B, main supply, main return to main supply. So basically you're bypassing the air handler. Again, you need the backdraft damper. And then the way I have mine, which is C, which is return to return, but instead of pulling from the return, again, I pull from the living room. I recommend that. Otherwise, you can end up short cycling the air into the return. And then a dedicated return to dedicated supply. I've seen this. It just tends to be cost prohibitive, and you end up with a lot more ductwork and a lot more outlets in the attic. Okay, positioning the homeowners. Well, allergies. Again, Jonathan covered it earlier. You want to stay between, I believe it was 45 and 65 or 45 and 60. Allergies. Allergies aren't so bad when the humidity's normal. If the humidity's too low, you have dust flying all over the place. If humidity's too high, you have the mold. The muggy feeling. No one likes to wake up and feel damp, okay, especially in these warmer climates. Without a whole house dehumidifier and it not being in cooling season, your house could be 75, 80% humidity. Your clothes stick to you. It's just not a good situation. The basement smell, the uncomfortable sleeping, okay? Observe signs of too much humidification with condensation on the windows, okay? Cupped flooring, musty smell, the musty smell throughout your house. You walk in and it doesn't smell clean. It smells musty, moldy, mildewy, okay? After identifying a need, explain the benefits, independent control, go through everything I just told you about, less electricity, not taxing the life of the air conditioner, probably getting another 5 years of life out of a condensing unit since you're not using it for humidity control. Remove the mugginess from the air, protect your assets. So you go away, your AC's not on, but this system's able to keep your house dry so you don't come home to black mold throughout the house or on the walls. So, and this is out of sight. It's not like one of the standalone units that you have in a basement or rolling throughout the house. You don't see this. It's usually installed in the garage, in the basement, wherever the air conditioner is installed. And in states where you don't have basements, you can install it in the attic as well. I'm giving it back to Jonathan now.
All right. Well, thanks you guys for joining us on this Zoom call, especially for humidity control. Again, Clean Comfort is a full product family. This is just 2 of the product families that we have to offer. So please check out our website for the other ones and also join us on the Clean Comfort overview presentation inside of this IAQ Summit as well. So thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, let us know.